Thank you for joining me. I am on a dirt road with my brother making noise out that way. I have a new toy, a knife. I bought a knife, so let's do a bit of an unboxing and kind of an initial setup. Well, it's setup, you don't set a knife up. It's a buck knife. They have a bushcraft version, so I thought I'd go ahead and get it and see what it's like. So. Start, camera mic is on. Now I can see, and I don't need to have my face on this part, but hey guys. So here it is, just a box from Amazon. I don't like the way they package this because it's rattling around in there. So if I break it, then we'll excuse that from the review. This knife, I don't usually like folding knives, but this one made by Kershaw. Kershaw has pretty good steel. I found it on a trail, all by my lonesome. I think I said that in the video already. If I didn't, I didn't. Oh well. Buck knives. Edge of a legend. This is the second buck knife I've owned. Warranty information, we'll burn that later. Litter bug! It's got a hard sheath. That's kind of cool. It comes with a fire steel. We'll check that out too. Oh, that holds in there pretty good. Can I get it? Can I have my knife? There we go. Decent size blade. Pretty comfortable in the hand. I'm never a fan of this business here. It grips your thumb to the point it takes skin off. Flies everywhere. And of course a very rough grind on the edge, though it does feel sharp. See how it does? That's not too bad. It's not going to shave hair though. It does hurt skin. Not too bad. Of course it's made in China. I do not like these. What's the purpose of doing that? Maybe to strike a fire steel on there? Because I can't put my finger in there without cutting it, and I do like to choke up. Comfortable grip. I got small girly hands, but that's not too bad. It is a full tang and then some. You see the steel. Focus. There you go. You see the steel is part of the guard and this full tang. I like that. Chicks dig it. Let's pretty good. I'm going to use this in a few videos, so watch out for it. That's nice. I like that. Let's see how it does on some wood. That's not too bad. This is scrub oak. Scrub oak is a hardwood. Cuts it pretty good. It's so hard to tell which direction I'm going. Cuts it pretty good with medium amount of pressure, and I haven't done anything. Well, of course I haven't done anything. Did you watch me open this thing up? I like that though. Okay, let's try a piece of actual wood, not a twig. I might have to do a different angle here. This is a little bit punky. But this thing feels so good in my hand. Let's compare it to my folder that has a razor sharp edge on it. I mucked up the edge here, but up here it's much sharper, and I can tell in the cut too. Let's compare it to another knife we got. Wait a minute. You gotta hold it steady or it doesn't work. Whoa, that binded. This is the worst knife I've ever used for curls. Alright, so, thoughts. I like it. How about this fire steel? Let's see what we can do with it. It's got a, I don't like, well, that's kind of, no, it's not stretchy at all, but it does go over the tip of that. Giggity. It's got a coating on it. like all fire steel comes with this goofy paint. I think it's just there as an anti-rust. But they did round the edges, so I will be filing that off. It's not sharp at all, and I like a good sharp. Now this is, but I don't like that. I never have. So I'm guessing it's meant to strike it in this curve here, which was that's pretty good. Whoa. Use the blade. Don't use the blade. It's bad for the blade. Why? Because this heats up the blade and makes it soft. That's pretty good. Yeah, that grabs it real well down there, but I don't like that the sparks hit the blade. The little fragments of metal will attach to that, and it's hot enough that it will soften spots of the steel on the blade. So I'd much rather use the back. I'll wheel grind that down. I'll just stick it on 80 grit, put it on my belt sander, then put it on 1000 grit and put a nice sharp edge on there. Yeah, that is interesting. Is it kind of sawwood on that thing? No. And that's punkwood. It can't saw punkwood. Rude. All right, that's not bad. The fire steel is soft. Soft fire steel is not bad. It just means it requires less pressure to create sparks. Whereas my other one, this is a hardened piece of fire steel. Actually, I wonder if you could probably tell in the sound. This has a higher iron content than this. But let's see how this does. A big piece of fire steel in here. It barely fits into that groove. Hold on. Grabbed it. That puts some sparks out. Nice. Well, there you go. A buck knife. It's pretty cool. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to put an edge on there. We'll cut to that, and I'll show you what it's like when I put a good fine edge on it. See how well it holds an actual razor edge. But I like that so far. Comfortable in my hand. I got small hands. It is a bit small on the width there, but it's comfortable in my hand. I don't know what steel it is, but oh well. Yeah, there you go. Put an edge on there and see how it works. This recording's still going, so I'm going to talk for a minute. So the case on this, I just having a look at it. This piece of plastic right in here, that thing is gonna keep it from going into my belt. My belt's probably as wide as this thing, this whole thing. So I'm not sure about that bit of plastic there. I wonder if I can push it out of the way somehow. I don't know. Interesting. Strange design. It's very hard plastic though. I would say it's probably ABS plastic with a fiberglass support. I'd have to burn it to see, but I'm not really gonna burn it. Maybe I can unscrew these, make it wider. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Alright, welcome back to the review. I like this knife so far. It is, let me put this thing back on autofocus. There we go, we're on the knife, so this isn't a bad knife. I like the handle, I like the way it feels, mostly. As you saw, I needed to do a bunch of touch-up work to it. I'm looking over here at the screen because I'm self-conscious. Anyway, so, and I always gotta check to see if my mic's on. So, let's start with the basics, the case. The case feels like a hard ABS plastic with a fiberglass support structure, which is kind of standard for this type of plastic. Now, let me reach into L pocket and get something that really annoyed me. Like, this little piece of devil was, I don't know why they put it right here. So if you can imagine, your belt has to be this wide to fit inside this dumb sheath. So I had to take these 3 screws out, these 2 screws out, and a screw here on the back, this guy right there, to make this sheath fit on a belt. Why is this even there? I can't even put it in the bottom slot. My belt is not that wide. It will fill this whole thing. So I use a cloth belt that I got in the military. So that's garbage. The sheath is not bad though. That said, the next thing, the fire steel. It's a relatively soft fire steel. It strikes very easily now that I've touched up the spine, but I'll tell you a bit about that in a minute. So the fire steel's not too bad. I like the addition that as long as I got my knife, I got my fire steel, and the fire steel is what I use to make fires. I like it. It hooks into the sheath. Shouldn't have thrown it. Right here, slides right in there, and locks in place. The lanyard, I'm going to call it, is going to change. I'm going to make it a bright color so I don't lose it. Thanks, Joe Robinette, for that one. Season 1 alone. If you don't know the tragic story of poor Joe Robinette, he lost his fire steel, put it down, picked up his jacket, and it was gone. And that sucks. It really does. Love the guy. There's the sheath. It's not too bad. The knife fits well into it. If you put it in the right direction, it fits in there very well. Come on, use your head, guy. And it does not come out. It's very well in there. It's got a little thumb thing that is easy enough to work, not real easy. And speaking of which, when I pull it out of the sheath, I took it on my grinder and I took this edge and I got rid of the corners on it. You see the design in there, along with a sharp edge, makes this thing a perfect saw. And it irritated the heck out of my hand down here when I pulled it out. So when I grab it to pull it out, I'm right there, and it pushed on that and it rubbed on that and it bothered the heck out of me. Even when I was using it, it bothered me enough that I took it to the old belt grinder and I took that and I cleaned it up. I don't know if you can see that at all. A little shine along the edge. I got rid of that sharpness, so it has a bit of a rounded, smooth feel to it. Also along this edge, it's shinier now because that's what 1000 grit sandpaper does. I took that down a bit because it was probably 1/1000th of an inch higher than the sheath or the handle. You can still feel it a little bit, but it's not like a cheese grater on your hand. So, passing rice burner, passing cars. The next thing I did was I ground down the spine. I made that spine, focus, I made that spine a good 90-degree sharp grippy angle so that I can grab any fire steel I have, soft, medium, hard, and it will cut that real good, real nice. I don't like this. Hold up, focus. I do not like this. What is this for? It cuts your finger. It's terrible. It's not a saw. I don't know why they do that. And on top of that, why do they do this? What is this little grind point for? You can't fit your finger in there. And I want to choke up on here and have blade right next to my hand with that guard so I can carve very well, not my finger, but a feather stick. And that bothers me, and that bothers me. I would do away with that completely. Nobody really uses those or wants them from what I can tell. Next thing I did, of course, was I took the rough grind off with 1000 grit sandpaper again, threw it on the belt grinder. I'm gonna go and put it on a leather strop so it's hair shaving sharp. But all in all, I like it. I would say it's a pretty good investment. It'll probably become my main knife. Simply the advantage that I think it has over my Mora. It's heavier. The handle feels better because of that. The rubber handle on the Mora kind of bugs the bare hand a bit after a while, but for the sheer fact that this thing is harder plastic. When I stick my knife in my Mora and do this, she falls out, and it doesn't do it with this one. Hold it and give it sideways, either which way you want. It doesn't fall out of there, so good on you, buck knife. Second buck knife I've owned. I really like the first. I think I'll love this one. Take care of it, but honestly, it's all about the steel. If the steel's good, the knife will be good, and just take care of it, and it'll last you a long time. So we will see what time does to this, but I'll toss it in the description where you can get it. And one thing I just noticed on this, fire still, let me take it out. It's a whistle. I just noticed that. I wondered what that little hole is for until my brain goes, hey idiot, it's a whistle. There you go. So you got a knife, a fire still, a good sheath, and a little bit of a survival tool. So a rescue tool. And of course it locks down. And I'll put an orange one on there because, well, I'm colorblind, but it looks like bright yellow. But the same thing, I can see it when I drop it in the grass. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me. Like, subscribe if you wish, and I will see you on the next adventure.